And we are coming from the CCTV special live studio in Hangzhou, the host city for the 2016 G20 summit, overlooking the West Lake. And I'm Tian Wei. This is where the world leaders, really, in the next few days, coming to brainstorm for the world's future. We are now 3 days away from the G20 summit and 2 days from Business 20. Starting today, leaders attending the meetings will arrive to talk about economics, geopolitics, and the world's development goals. Many in Hangzhou believe, of course, this is a rare opportunity. So are many from all over the world. This year's G20 summit having 4 words as the theme. They are, as many of you know, innovative, invigorated, interconnected, and inclusive. Exactly what are the meanings of these 4 words? What exactly is behind this main theme? Let's have our reporter Yang Zhao to explain that from the Beijing studio.
Well, hello, Tian Wei. Well, we can view these 4 keywords as the direction of the world economy that G20 members wanted to be heading in, but they can also be interpreted as the problems that we are facing, as the global economy is lacking luster when it comes to innovation, invigoration, interconnectivity, and inclusiveness. The world economy is more or less coming out of the financial crisis, but the recovery process has been. Annual growth in terms of the world trade has slowed from 7% in 2008 to 3% so far in 2015. The U.S. is probably the only advanced G20 nation that can claim to have had a decent economic recovery, with annual GDP growth between 2 to 3% and unemployment rate down to 5%. The Eurozone has been bogged down in debt problems. Emerging markets feel no better. Their economic woes are mounting as commodity prices has been tumbling. So the circumstances make it hard to claim that the world economy has been invigorated. And this explains why the G20 is calling on innovation to be the catalyst for the new growth. Also, the G20 calls for more interconnectivity and inclusivity. This comes in the wake of rising protectionism and a stagnated reform process of global governance. The WTO reported that G20 markets imposed a record 145 new trade restrictive measures in the 7-month period, the most since 2009. And meanwhile, global governance can no longer be dominated by advanced economies, but it must include more developing countries. You will find more names on the guest list than ever when compared to previous summit. For example, the chair of ASEAN Community Laos would be present, alongside Chad, the current African Union chair. Back to you.
But then the question is, why has China placed so much emphasis on the concept of innovation? Of course, we know it is the solution, but why it is the solution? Yang Zhao.
Well, innovation has been one of China's top domestic priorities for quite some time. The G20 theme simply matches the new developmental strategy of China. Last year, China vowed to develop an innovative, coordinated, green, open, and sharing economy for the 2016 to 2020 period, also known as the famous 5-year plan. So you can understand why Hangzhou has been chosen, being one of China's most innovative cities. It now has grown into an e-commerce hub with more than 470,000 online business entities, including e-commerce giant Alibaba. Hangzhou is also the capital of Zhejiang province, whose economy is a similar size to that of Sweden's. Last year, nearly 40% of Zhejiang's GDP came from high-tech industries. We hope that innovation can be the next growth driver, but there are still challenges lying ahead. Quite a few Latin American and Asian economies continue to be trapped in the so-called middle-income trap. First, there is shortage of capital for supporting further industrialization when labor and other resources are no longer cheap. Second is the problem of unemployment, where many people lost their jobs when countries washed out low-end manufacturing and processing sectors. To solve the 2 problems, we can expect some Chinese experiences to provide insight, but merely copying China's economic plan requires care, as some features are unique to China. For example, China is not heavily reliant on natural resources exports, the domestic consumer market is huge, and the service sector is expanding quickly, which can absorb a large amount of excessive workers. Back to you.
A lot of figures over there to illustrate the importance of innovation. Our reporter Yang Zhao there. Thank you so much.